Hello everybody, welcome back to Case Management Practice 2, and this is a video assessment assistance tutorial for the assessments 3A and 3B, but primarily 3B. So 3A, let me just confirm, 3A is an assessment workshop where you will participate. As I mentioned in the very first of our little video tutorials, you'll participate as a role player in a process of case conferencing, and it's some way into working with our case study clients, Lily, Chen, and her two children, Jasmine and Tyson. So in that regard, you will have participated in a workshop in order to get to assessment 3A, and now we're going to talk about 3B. So 3A, you'll demonstrate your participation by uploading into the portal your assessment submission, saying that, and this will be feedback from one of the assessors at the workshop, and they'll sign off that you've attended and you've met all the requirements, and you upload that as evidence that you've attended the workshop. And now we're moving on to 3B, and we're going to answer some questions from 3B. So as always, you go to the templates for assessments section. In the templates for assessments, you download 3B here. You don't need to download one for 3A because that will be handed to you by your assessor at the workshop. And in 3B here, once again, student number here, student name here, and change the student name at the top of the folder of the file as the file name, so that we know who's submitting the file. And we're going to move through this assessment here. This is all about closing off the case. This is the final assessment for the course. So we're imagining you've been to the workshop and you've done the role play, and the first question says, how does it feel to be Lily? Why is it important to design case plans in consultation with clients? Directly answer that question. Lily's life circumstances are in the hands of a number of individuals in a case conference. It must feel pretty difficult, frustrating, frightening, intimidating, stressful. These are all words that would apply to Lily's circumstances there. All these people are talking about how well Lily's been as a parent, and if she doesn't perform well in the assessment, in the case conference, she might lose her children. There's a risk that that could happen. If she turned around and said, I'm not working with you all, you can all get lost, I don't want anything to do with you, you would immediately say, well, need to make an out-of-home care order for the kids. So, and then go through a family court process of doing that. So this is a very important issue, none probably more so for most people in life than the issue of their maternal bonds being tested in a conference facility. So you'd need to be very supportive, and in order to design case plans, you need to do it with the client so that they're ultimately responsible for their own success in these case conferences. So that you're not saying, you've not said, I want you to do that, that, and that. You put all those things and they go, I couldn't do that. I didn't, you told me I had to do it, but I didn't know how to do that. So I never did it. And then they failed, and then this makes the case conference even worse for them. You give them realistic understanding of goals and work with them in designing the case plan so they understand fully what they're committing to, because it's their case plan. That's why. Can you put that into about 3 words? You go, how does it feel to be Lily? Stressful, da, 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 da. It's important to design case plans with Lily so she understands that it's her responsibilities to fully participate in case planning. Sentences like that. Number 2, when you were being Lily, what did the case manager do that made you feel safe or fearful? So I wasn't in your workshop, so I can't answer that for you. So you have to say what happened in the case conference. You thought, the case manager say something that you thought, geez, I'd be a bit afraid if they said that to me. Lily, pay attention or you'll lose your children. Or did they say, Lily, how can we help you understand this better? Maybe you feel more as a participant of the thing. So you need to identify what is it, what are those aspects of supporting Lily, because this demonstration of empathy shows that you understand what a client feels like in this circumstance, and that's what you're demonstrating in this learning. show some empathy. How does it feel to be Lily? What things would be good for the client to help them feel part of it and capable and in control, and what parts of it would make them feel out of control and incapable and fearful, and identify what they are. As the case manager, what was it about Lily's behaviour and comments that made you feel frustrated, powerless, sad or hopeful? One or the other, you know. Pick one, talk about that based on your experience in the workshop. Number 4, casework processes should be continually monitored for effectiveness. So you've got a case plan every week. It's got a monitor date on it. If we go back to that case plan we looked at in assessment 2 part B, it said monitor, review and a review date. What's the process? What's the review? It could be a phone call, could be something else, and it could be a meeting, and there's a date. Why do we need to monitor? Well, we need to monitor to ensure that the case is being correctly addressed, that we need to ensure that the client is capable of doing it, and that it's successful. And if it's not successful, what are we going to do about it? We're going to change it. So your responses are, there's 2 reasons why it's necessary: to ensure progression and effectiveness or efficacy. Number B, how should monitoring be taken? Face-to-face meetings, phone calls with the client and with other service providers by agreement with the client. How is client satisfaction monitored in terms of, is it successful? How is client satisfaction monitored? We might invite them to talk about how they're feeling about the case plan. Do they want to make changes? We might want to let them make complaints. We might want to give them a feedback form at the end of the process. And as in terms of monitoring client satisfaction, their engagement in that case plan again becomes very crucial to us knowing what we're doing here. Number 5, what practical arrangements might you need to implement to support Amy and other stakeholders, and how would you implement these? What practical arrangements might you need to implement to support Amy and other stakeholders, and how would you implement these? Okay, so in order to support Amy, you would ensure that Amy had full understanding of her circumstances. You would support Amy by helping her to attend to the issues in the case plan as much as possible. So if it says you need to go across town and attend this counsellor, if she has no money, you need to ask her and make sure that she's fully resourced to be able to take part in the case plan. Where that's not working, you need to ensure that you're talking to Amy about, to Lily about why that's not worked for her, and that you're able to work with her to help her address the points of the case plan. So practically you would be working with Lily as much as possible to assist her to ensure that she has all the resources she needs. What strategy would you put in place to ensure that all the designated decision makers did attend your case conference? What strategies would you put in place to ensure that all the designated decision makers did attend your case conference? Well, case conference is a planned arrangement, isn't it? You're not going to say, next week, having a case conference. You'd be planning it for a long time. And so you'd be thinking about, we'll review and monitor the case plan. Got a case plan. We're going to run the case plan for 6 weeks, and then we'll have a case study, a case conference, see if the case, the participants in the case conference are seeing that it's working, and that collectively we're seeing progression in the case plan. So what strategy would you put in place? You would have a planned case conference sometime ahead. You would invite all of the participants that are required to attend, and you would allow them opportunities to participate, and you would allow opportunities for the key stakeholder, Lily, to participate as well. And you might want statements from the children as well. So you might need them to be interviewed and have a statement from them. And you would want an agenda that gets sent out so that people are clear about what's going to happen, so there's no surprises, especially for Lily. And you want it to be in plain language as well. And you also want to think about incentivizing people to be there, Lily especially, by saying things like, if we can get some positive results here, then we can look at the case closure. And that's always something that you want to be thinking about from the very beginning. So discuss the mechanism, now we're on point 7, discuss the mechanism for how you will review or close the case. Well, if Lily's attended to everything, everything's going well, the children are supported, they're resourced, they're showing signs of improvement. It might be long-term, might be short-term, probably long-term in this case, that they're showing more happiness in school, that they're attending, they're performing, that they're resourced, that they're capable, that they seem happier, then that would be a key indicator for you, that you then talk to Lily. Lily seems to be more capable. Lily's talking more positively. Lily's got links to be able to address problems. She's got emotional support. She might have networks of friends who are more appropriate than boyfriends having parties with the kids. It might be that having a boyfriend and having parties not very inappropriate if it's given at the right times, and it's not going to keep the kids up late at night on school nights and things like this. But there's obviously restrictions on that. So what would you discuss with Lily? Talk about Lily's responsibilities. Oh, sorry, we've gone ahead here. So discuss the mechanisms for closing the case. Who will be present? Well, key stakeholders, Lily and the case manager. You don't need to involve everybody because, again, not everybody's going to be aware of the whole case plan. So you, and certainly Lily, needs to be present. And you need to have reports from the children that are there up to scratch. So it might be reports from other people monitoring the children, like education liaison officer, there might be a counsellor, there might be youth services, that sort of thing. You can get reports from them. What in particular would you discuss with Lily? Well, discuss her successes. Discuss some of the problems you had at the beginning. Discuss what you assessed as need, what you found was being effective and what worked, and think about the progression and be very positive and strength focused and go, well done, you've done this really well. We're going to think about the goals, we're going to think about how we've achieved them and how we might better tweak the outcomes to ensure they're even better. You know, either way, it depends on what's going on here. It's not really for me to say that depends on the individual Lily and how well she's engaged with that case plan. If she's not engaged, then, and if you're going to close the case and she's not participated, there's a very strong chance that Tyson and Jasmine will be going into out-of-home care following an application to the family court. So in those terms, if we're thinking in less positive terms, you might be saying, well, how do we get back custody of the children? What do you need to attend to in that regard? So that's a possibility too. How do you negotiate case closure with Lily and other relevant agencies? Well, Lily might be closing her relationship up as a support work with you, but maybe not with other people. So you might be saying, Lily, we have an agreement that we'd work on these things. We did, we've agreed, and you've done it well. Or you've not managed to get these things done, but we still remain positive and respectful. And we can still work together on some things, but for now, we're going to close the case because things are going well or things aren't going well and the children have gone into out-of-home care. You would send letters to agencies saying that you are no longer a case manager for Lily, and that you might refer them to another identified primary case manager within the network of services that you set up with Lily. And you are required further in that regard to then develop a brief case closure document that can be distributed to both the client and other case stakeholders. So this can be a written letter or formal email. So all you do is you put some start and finish dates. Don't talk about every dot point that they've achieved. You're not telling anybody. For example, Lily's got an alcohol and drug problem. You wouldn't be saying that to the education liaison worker. Oh, Lily's done really well in stopping taking the drugs, because she might gossip that to other people. It's not her business. She's not her responsibility is making sure the kids are okay. So her understanding of Lily's alcohol and drug issues, nothing to do with her. That's between you and your client. So we're not going to put all those details into this. We just need to say, we've come to the end of our support arrangement. Lily has fared very well and worked together, and you've agreed that Lily will keep working with and list the people on what basis. She'll see the she'll see this service on this day and this service on this day, and again, you might, I mean, if this is a bit generic, actually, you might need to be talking about what they're doing, even though ethically you really wouldn't be doing this in a real world. You'd be shot for doing it, but for this assessment, you might have to do that. Okay, so if you put it all down, you're not going to get penalised for that. So you'll be working with the alcohol and drug service to keep addressing drug and alcohol issues. You'll be working with parenting support. You'll be trying to go build English skills, etc. The kids will be attending this and that, and the school will be providing these resources, etc., etc. So list the case plan, what's been done and what's yet to be done, and the closure dates for those things. Kind of say, well done, Lily, and then you spend a lot of time saying, Lily, you've done really, 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 really well. It's been very difficult. You've got to work out how well you've done in this, and it's been great, and you've been great. And really, the positivity should not be withheld here. Even if you really dislike Lily as a person, you hated working with her, so what? Your job is to be the wind beneath her wings. And unless she's absolutely punching you in the face, saying, you know, I'm never going to work with you, and I'm reporting you to everybody, you know, you even, whatever little success was made, even if the kids have gone to out-of-home care, you would try and say, look, that's something you can work on. You're finding a little wedge in a bad story to go, let's make a good story here. Anything. And the other thing is you go, the door's never shut. You can always come back to me if you don't know. While you're not funded to work with Lily, you do have an obligation, duty of care that most agencies will just recognise that and go, yeah, look. And if it becomes abused, that, you know, she's back next week and the week after that and the week after that, you go, look, Lily, you've got to keep referring these to the right people now because I'm not here for you. Or, if there's genuine need, you would resubmit her into the support arrangement you have with the agency. Right, that is the end of this assessment, and I'm going to stop the recording now. Well done on completing the final assessment. Great, thanks, bye.